Hello, hi, and welcome to my astrological forecast for March 2017. Okay, so that's January tick, February tick. Okay, that's 1/6 of the year gone already. I've only just learnt to write 2017. I keep writing 2016 and 1/6 of the year's gone already. Wow. And that pretty much talks about the fast pace of things that have we've been at an accelerated pace, and it certainly feels like it. So particularly at the end of February, things were pretty chaotic, but in a nice way, because the energy was very productive. It was very kind of nutritious. It contained a lot which we could build upon, and hopefully you've been following my forecast, and so you knew that what you had to do was getting the driving seat. You had to create, you had to grab every opportunity, you had to see yourself as lucky and just go for everything, and if you did, you should have had quite a creative time. So I hope that's the case. As I sit here and record this on the first day of March, the news in the UK at least is celebrating the speech of Donald Trump and comparing it to the one of his inauguration and now his presidential speech, and there's been a big difference. And hopefully this more conciliatory and pace will continue, and also we will continue to see the leader help to bring the country together. It's been such a divisive time. It's not been very pleasant to see previous friends at each other's throat on Facebook. So I do hope that now things will settle down. It has been quite a fractious time, okay, but change needed to happen, and change doesn't happen in peaceful times. Change happens in chaotic times, and so change was available. But let's hope now that we can all be friends again. Anyway, so what do we have for March? The month of March for me is kind of split into two separate energies. The energy changes considerably around the 20th of March. So we've got a March from now until the 20th, and then we've got the 10 days afterwards. And I see a shift in energy, really. It looks like the beginning of March is not like the end of March, if you see what I mean. Okay, so what comes first? Well, we're in this still very vibrant, still very excitable energy. We had an eclipse last Sunday. Eclipses were always known through the ages as having been associated with movements of the Earth's crust, so earthquakes, volcano eruptions, that sort of thing. But also in the sky, we've got a dwarf planet called Haumea, who is in an alignment with Uranus and Mars, both very violent energies. And so it wasn't surprising for me to see that Mount Etna erupted last night, and I do expect that to take more of a central news position as Haumea and Mars get together over the next couple of days. But anyway, hopefully everything will be okay there. So around the 4th of March, we've got something happening in the sky, and that is that Venus stations. So that diamond of light that you can see early evening now, every evening, if you've got a clear sky, you can go out, and on the side of the sky where the sun went down, you'll see a very, very bright diamond star in the gathering gloom and in the early darkness, and that's Venus. Well, that planet has now appeared to stop dead in the sky and will appear to move backwards from now on. And eventually she will finish up not as the evening star as she is now, but she'll finish up as the morning star after April and May. She's going to go back past the sun. This is all back from our perspective. This is the way we see things from Earth. And what does this mean? Well, Venus represents success, affirmation, earth things. And it means that we're in a cycle where we can go back over something and check for whether or not we got everything in the right place. Is it successful enough? Does it have more potential? Could we put more affirmation into the project? Is there something we need to go back to redo? Wasn't it quite right? Was it in its creative form? Could we have made it better? Is its form improvable? So that's what this is about. And anyway, so it's an earthy time, but also we've got on the 4th of March we've got Mars trine Saturn. So what that means, we have a great deal of energy thrust into an Earth planet which is pragmatic, practical, likes to take work on, heavy workloads. So we should be able to, at the beginning of March, do work that we don't like, but do it with energy. So if there's something kind of boring and repetitive, you should find the ability to do that work quite easily at the beginning, around the 4th of March, that there should be an impetus. You'll actually get up and say, you know what, I'm going to do those accounts. Well, it's a thought anyway. Then after the 6th, we get some quieter days, just a few slight, well, it's all relative, quieter than it has been. And then we're gathering up for the full moon on the 12th of March. Now, this is when the moon will be in Virgo and the sun is in Pisces. So we're lighting up here the Virgo-Pisces axis. These two zodiac signs are opposite to each other in the sky. So what does this axis mean? Because this is what will be highlighted. Well, the Virgo-Pisces axis represents health. So that's personal health and the health of the collective. It also represents things like service to others. In Virgo, we serve something local. In Pisces, we serve a bigger collective. We want to go into service. So you may find that you want to do some voluntary work, for instance, or you want to do something redemptive, some charity work that makes you feel better for some kind of sin that you did earlier. This axis is also about criticism and forgiveness, because Virgo can be quite critical, but Pisces is the eternal energy of forgiveness. So we can find these kind of issues coming up in our relationships. Things like yoga are very good around this time. Both Virgo and Pisces blend very well with yoga. So health things like checking up on your dental appointments or your regular health checks, taking up something like yoga, good time to take it up, because it has a healthy effect on the body and the mind. Okay, it's a gentle full moon. We shouldn't get too much trouble with it. You know, we might want to clean a bit, might not. You know, might want to have the odd glass of wine. Pisces, might not. Okay, so then we get, on the 14th, we get the sun moving a little bit further around the sky, and he joins the planet Chiron. And this is, Chiron represents our wounds, our hurt feelings, our humiliated feelings. But when the sun gets there, it lights them up. The sun can't be negative. It's a very positive planet. So the sun gets there and makes us feel better, makes us feel healed. We can't heal anything that doesn't first come up to be felt. So allow painful feelings and past memories to come up, but they're coming up to be healed. You can allow yourself to feel better about them. You can maybe talk about them with a friend or a loved one. You can maybe think about them, meditate on them with yourself, and find a different answer. Find a different response more than anything. Because at the end of the day, when people hurt us, they're only hurting us as much as we have allowed them to hurt us. If our response is different, then we're not hurt. They can say what they like, but if our internal response is calmer and more well adjusted and more thoughtful, then maybe we're not so scratchy or spiky or sensitive, and then maybe we're more healed. Okay, so that's around the 14th, and then on the 17th, what's happening then is the sun is getting to Saturn, and so what we then get is this dutiful, pragmatic, comfortable energy. No big fiery stuff here. This is an earth sign after all, and it's heavy earth. But it's just a quiet time when we can adjust and feel happier with something that has previously made us fearful. So things that haven't sat quite right with us, maybe some light is cast on this, and we can be more comfortable with the struggle that we're in. We're here to struggle anyway. This wasn't meant to be a comfortable life. But maybe the sun and its arrival in contact with Saturn can just make us feel warmer about something that we have struggled with in the past. Around this time also, we've got another set of planetary alignments which talks about a blow to feminism or a blow to women or women's intelligence. So that's not very nice, but you know, we have to have our setbacks so that we're made to be stronger. We may be looking at the variety of roles that a woman plays. So a woman plays lover, she plays mother, she plays nursemaid, she plays secretary. What else are we? Teacher, domestic provider. And we may be reminded of the multiple roles that a woman plays, and sometimes how difficult it is to play all these roles without feeling that one suffers. I think along with that comes this intelligence thing where we wonder, maybe we struggle to ourselves and think, you know, am I in some way not adequate? Am I in some way not intelligent? We have to ask ourselves these questions, because when we ask them, we come up with better answers than the ones we did before. So it's all good for our spiritual growth. And then we get to the 20th of March. Yeah, and this is when the sun and the sun and earth relationship is such that now the sun is going to be stronger in the northern hemisphere and weaker in the southern hemisphere. It's passing over the earth's equator. This is the earth equator. The sun is appear to moving over it, and so we're into light nights, or lighter nights anyway. This is actually the beginning of the astrological year, so it's my new year. And to be honest, this should all give us a boost. We should all feel we can get up and go. We should all feel like spring lambs leaping all over a field. We should feel we need to get out there. It's a real kind of like boosting time of happiness and feistiness and energy. So that should do us all good. And that I think is when the energy shifts. We have had a very difficult year. If we go from March last year to March this year, it's been a toughie for a lot of people. Been a lot of soul searching, a lot of clashing, a lot of ethical, moral, and belief things have clashed. We've had a lot of issues over beliefs and morals and ethics, and it's worn us out in some cases. It's been a stressful year as a result of that. People have hurt, and I think this is where we can ask that the energy changes and it can be different in the future. We're working on it. It's work in progress. Then we get to the 23rd of March, and what we've got there is this is where the planet Mercury, which is about communication, gets in touch with the Lord of the underworld, Pluto. And so Mercury is a messenger for the underworld, and so what might happen is we might get some very distasteful sexual violence stories in the news, for instance. These aren't the only things that come out of the underworld, but they tend to accompany the other stuff. It can also be a time when we're aware of very dark or deep thoughts, and I don't mean dark in a demonic way. I mean dark as in not light, we can't see them, that things that have been sort of hanging around in dingy light and we haven't identified them, they can gently come up so that we can consider them and we can evolve these thoughts and we can grow them into something positive. If you're taking exams at this time around the 23rd of March, you might actually find it quite difficult to access your thoughts, because what happens is Pluto sort of buries the meaning of Mercury. It becomes more invisible, so it's difficult to think clearly at this time and get everything written down. However, that you do write down when you struggle to write it down will come from the bowels of the dimension. Like, where did this come from, you'll wonder. So it's well worth kind of trying to write, but it might be difficult to write, if you see what I mean. On the 24th, so the next day really, on the 24th of March, we've got the same planet of communication, Mercury, but this time getting in touch with Uranus. So we should get things in the news, scientific discoveries, new ideas, exploration. There may be verbal battles because we're in Aries here, and Uranus is quite a strident energy. Mercury is about verbal, so we might get verbal battles. Very fast, innovative time, very creative time, very ingenious time, very intellectual time, very fast-moving stuff. You know, work hard to stay up at this point, because there could be a lot of things that are quite valuable that they might pass us by because it's so speedy. And then on the 28th of March, we get the new moon in Aries. So that's the sun and the moon, both in the zodiac sign of Aries. This is full of zest, full of life, full of me. The problem is, of course, that when everybody in the collective is talking about me, nobody is thinking about us or giving the me's an audience. Nobody wants to consider that me. I want to consider this me. And if we all get very me oriented, then we're all going to be like fighting with each other. You know, I want it my way. No, I want it my way. So, you know, it could be quite a feisty new year, that one. I say new year, it's a new moon, but you can treat that as a new year too. So you can have 2 new years in this month. You can have the 20th of March, and you can also have the 28th of March if you want. You can feel revived and renewed for each of them, and that would be nice. Okay, now don't forget that anytime you want to have a reading with me, then I am here, and we will be able to go through the transits in the year ahead. Or if you're struggling with relationship, career, want a house move, don't know where to go, fed up with family, children, and you just can't see where the hell it is that you should be looking, or what you should be doing, or you just feel depressed and you can't find your mojo and you'll get up and go, do remember, have a reading with me, because we can clear all that up, no problem. If you've never had one with me before, have a 90-minute reading. If you've had one before, have a 60-minute reading. Just £69, £59. It's, hey, that's really cheap in dollars, because we've got a really low exchange rate at the moment. And I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to see you on Skype and chat with you like this. Okay, so going back to March, a lot will change during the month. And so the beginning of this month is not quite like the end of the month. It's all good. We're looking towards the summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. And I think the overall advice remains the same. Stay positive. This is not a time for negative thinking. The ether is very close, and your thoughts are very important. And the cosmos will read your thoughts, decode them, and you will manifest negativity. So don't do that. Stay positive, and you can collect up some of the magic and be creative and create yourself a brilliant future. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm going to look forward to talking to you for the April forecast, when a quarter of the year will be over. Better get moving. We've got a lot to do in 2017. Lovely to talk to you. Bye.